Alexander Grant steps out of his shiny black sedan, the night air cool against his fancy suit. The valet grabs his keys with a quick nod, but Alexander doesn't even look his way. His thoughts are somewhere else, tangled in a sadness he can't shake. La Belle Époque restaurant stands tall in front of him, all class and charm. To everyone else, he's a big-shot CEO with money and power. But tonight, as he walks through those fancy doors, he's carrying a heavy heart that's pulling him down. What could make a tough CEO cry right there in a fancy restaurant? It's all about a simple napkin and a little girl's brave move. Before we dive into this story, comment below, where in the world are you watching from? Hit the subscribe button and turn on notification to see more emotional stories like this one. Alexander Grant wasn't always the big name he is today. He started with nothing but an idea and a drive to make it work. In a small garage, he stayed up late, building software that would one day shake up the tech world. That hard work paid off when Grant Technologies grew into a powerhouse, known for its smart gadgets and game-changing programs. People look up to Alexander. He's the guy who turned a dream into something real, something huge. But success didn't shield him from pain. 5 years ago, everything changed. It was a sunny day, and Alexander was in a meeting when his phone rang. His daughter, Isabella, just 10 years old, had been in a car accident. He raced to the hospital, heart pounding, but he was too late. She was gone. That day left a mark on him, a deep cut that no award or deal could heal. After Isabella was taken from him, Alexander tried to keep going. He dove into work, thinking it would drown out the hurt. But it didn't. His wife, Elizabeth, was hurting too, and she needed him. Instead of being there, he hid behind his desk, piling up hours and projects. She felt alone, and he didn't see it until it was too late. The gap between them grew, and one day, she walked out. Now, Alexander rattles around in a big, quiet house, with nothing but echoes of what used to be. He's alone, even when he's not. At work, people surround him, employees, partners, all singing his praises. But they don't know him, not really. He's put up walls, keeping everyone at arm's length. His success is like a mask he wears, hiding the broken pieces underneath. It's heavy though, carrying that mask every day, pretending he's okay when he's not. There's one place he can't hide from the past, La Belle Époque. It's a fancy restaurant, all soft lights and warm smells, but to Alexander, it's more than that. It was Isabella's favorite. They'd go there for her birthdays or just because. She'd sit across from him, grabbing crayons and drawing little suns on the napkins. "This is for you, Daddy," she'd say, her face lighting up. "So you won't be sad at work." Those suns were her gift to him, a bit of brightness in his busy life. Now, when he goes back, he can almost see her there, smiling. It stings, but he keeps going anyway. It's the closest he can get to her. Have you ever hidden pain behind success? Comment yes if you relate. Lily wasn't like most kids her age. At 9 years old, she didn't spend her evenings running around outside or watching cartoons. Instead, she sat at a small table near the kitchen of La Belle Époque, a restaurant, her father's workplace. The place was alive with sounds, dishes clattering, voices blending into a gentle hum, and the sizzle of food on the stove. Her father, Daniel, was the chef, a man who could turn simple ingredients into something special. But life hadn't always been kind to them. 2 years ago, Lily's mother had passed away, and since then, the restaurant had become their world. Lily liked it there. The staff treated her like one of their own, sneaking her bits of dessert or asking about her day. She'd sit with her school books, pretending to study, but really, she was watching. She noticed everything, the way the waiters moved, how customers smiled or frowned, and the little moments that made the restaurant feel alive. Tonight, though, her eyes kept landing on one person, Alexander Grant. He sat alone by the window, dressed in a fancy suit, his face serious. People whispered about him. He was a CEO, someone who ran a big company and had lots of money. But Lily didn't care about that. To her, he just looked sad. His eyes stared out at the city, empty and far away, like he was carrying something heavy no one could see. Lily knew that look. She'd seen it on her father's face after her mother was gone, a quiet, deep sadness that didn't go away easily. Alexander didn't laugh or talk to anyone. He just sat there, his coffee getting cold, lost in his thoughts. She wondered what could make someone like him feel that way. He had so much, fancy clothes, a big job, but none of it seemed to matter. She tapped her pencil against her book, thinking. Maybe he was lonely. Maybe he'd lost something important, like she had. Her chest tightened as she remembered her mother, her soft voice, her warm hands. Then, a memory came to her, clear as day. Whenever Lily had been upset, her mother would smile and say, "Don't worry, sweetheart. The sun will shine tomorrow." It was a promise, a little light in the dark. Even now, those words stayed with her, helping her through tough days. What if Alexander didn't have anyone to tell him that? What if he'd forgotten that things could get better? Lily glanced at the pile of napkins on her table. An idea started to grow. She could do something small, but maybe enough to make him feel less alone. She picked up a napkin and her pencil. She wasn't great at drawing, but she had a picture in her mind. A big, happy sun, just like the ones her mother used to sketch. It would be simple, but it would mean something. She started drawing, her hand moving carefully. The sun's round face took shape, with a big smile and rays stretching out to the edges. She made it bright, full of hope. Then, under the sun, she wrote her mother's words, "Don't be sad, the sun will shine tomorrow." Her letters wobbled a bit, but she took her time, wanting it to be clear. It wasn't fancy, but it came from her heart. She looked at it for a moment, satisfied. This was her way of reaching out, of saying what she couldn't say out loud. Lily peeked at Alexander again. He hadn't moved, still staring out the window. Her stomach flipped. What if he didn't like it? What if he ignored it? He seemed so far away, locked in his own world. But she couldn't back out now. She took a deep breath, grabbed the napkin, and slipped out of her seat. Her sneakers barely made a sound as she crossed the room. When she got to his table, she set the napkin down next to his plate and hurried back, her heart racing. She hid behind her books, watching. Alexander didn't see it at first. His hand brushed the napkin, and he stopped. Slowly, he picked it up and unfolded it. Lily held her breath as he looked at the drawing, then the words. His face changed, his eyebrows lifted, and his mouth softened. He read it again, his fingers running over the sun's rays. Then, his eyes shimmered, like he might cry. Lily's pulse thumped in her ears. Had she gone too far? But no, something about it had reached him. That little napkin, with its sunny drawing and simple message, had broken through. What did she write? It was just a few words, "Don't be sad, the sun will shine in the morning." But the words hit Alexander hard, tearing down the walls he'd built around himself. He keeps staring at the napkin, reading it again and again. His hands shake a little. Then his face crumples, and tears spill out. He lets out a small sob, shoulders trembling, one hand covering his eyes. The whole restaurant seems to vanish for him, it's just him and that napkin. A waiter hurries over, looking worried. "Mr. Grant, are you okay? Do you need anything?" He waves the waiter away, his voice rough. "I'm fine. Just, give me a minute." The waiter steps back, but people keep glancing over, curious. Mr. Grant doesn't notice. He's caught up in whatever's hitting him. He looks around, trying to find who left it. His eyes land on Lily, peeking from her spot. He lifts a shaky hand, calling her over. Her heart pounds. Did I mess up? He looks so torn apart. But she can't stay put. She gets up and walks to him, slow, careful. He holds up the napkin. "Did you do this?" She nods, twisting her hands. "Yes, sir. I thought, maybe you needed it." He looks at her, really looks, for a long moment. Then his face softens. Thank you. This means more than you know. She gives a small, shy smile. You're welcome. He takes a deep breath, calming down. What's your name? Lily, she says, keeping her voice low. Lily, he says back, like it's something special. I'm Alexander. Nice to meet you. She nods again and heads back to her corner. Her heart's still racing, but she feels good, like she helped somehow. She watches him from a distance. He folds the napkin neat and slips it into his pocket. He stays there a while, coffee cold, lost in thought. Would you have approached a stranger like Lily did? Share your thoughts. That night Alexander Grant left La Belle Époque with a napkin tucked in his pocket. Something shifted inside him. That little drawing from Lily wasn't just a doodle, it was a push, a gentle nudge that set him on a path he hadn't walked in years. What happened next wasn't loud or flashy, but it changed lives, one quiet step at a time. Morning came, and Alexander didn't rush to his desk like usual. He sat there, phone in hand, staring at a name he hadn't dialed in too long. Elizabeth, his ex-wife. His thumb hovered over the call button, heart pounding, but he pressed it anyway. 3 rings later, her voice came through, soft but guarded. They agreed to meet at a cozy cafe down the street. No fancy setup, just 2 people at a small table. He didn't beat around the bush. He told her he'd been wrong, that he'd let pain build a wall between them, and he wanted to try again. Elizabeth didn't jump into his arms, but she didn't walk away either. She nodded, eyes warm, and said she'd think about it. That was enough for him, a crack in the door he'd thought was locked forever. Alexander's mind kept drifting back to Lily and her dad, Daniel. He'd heard through the grapevine at La Belle Époque that Daniel was barely keeping things together, raising a kid on a chef's paycheck. That napkin moment stuck with him, and he knew he had to do something. A week later, he sat Daniel down in his office. No suits, no big speeches, just a straight offer. He was starting a new chain of restaurants, simple places for families, and he wanted Daniel to run the kitchen. Not just cook, but lead. Daniel blinked, caught off guard, and asked if it was real. Alexander nodded, firm but kind, and told him it was a chance to build something better for him and Lily. They shook hands, and Daniel's grin said it all. Hope had walked into his life. That wasn't the end of it. Alexander started showing up at La Belle Époque more, not for the food, but for the people. He'd chat with Lily, ask about her day, and check on Daniel's plans for the new gig. One night, he brought Elizabeth along. They sat at a corner table, and Lily bounced over, her eyes bright. She didn't know the whole story, but she saw them together and giggled, telling Alexander he seemed different, lighter. He laughed, a real laugh, and told her she was right. That little girl, with her messy hair and big heart, had started it all. Her scribble on a napkin had reached into his world and pulled him back from the edge. Lily's act wasn't magic, but it might as well have been. It woke Alexander up, showed him he didn't have to stay stuck in the dark. He kept moving forward, mending ties with Elizabeth bit by bit, building something new with Daniel, and letting those ripples spread. A child's scribble reignited a millionaire's heart, proving that even the smallest things can light up everything. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs hope. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell for more real-life tales. Grief can be a shadow that never quite leaves. It's heavy, like a coat you can't take off, and it changes how you see the world. For Alexander Grant, that shadow had been with him so long it felt like part of him. He carried it through every day, every choice, every quiet moment. But something about that night at the restaurant made it shift. Not vanish, not yet, but lighten. Just enough to let a little air through. What's powerful about kindness is how it can sneak up on you. It doesn't always come with trumpets or big promises. Sometimes it's just a child's messy drawing, a few words scratched out in crayon. That's what reached Alexander, a simple act from someone who didn't even know why he needed it. It wasn't planned or perfect, but it hit him in a way nothing else had. Like a crack in a dam, it let something flow again, something he'd locked away. Redemption isn't a straight line. It's not about undoing what's been done or making everything right. For Alexander, it was messier than that, more real. It was about stepping out of the dark, even if just a little, and seeing that the world still had something to offer. He didn't wake up fixed or whole, but he started moving. Reaching out, helping where he could, picking up pieces he'd let fall. It was slow, like learning to walk again, but it was a start. That night, after the plates were cleared and the chatter faded, Alexander walked out into the cool air. He stopped, tilted his head back, and looked up. The stars were there, sharp and bright against the endless black. For years, he'd avoided looking up, too afraid of the emptiness, too tired of feeling small. But this time, it was different. The weight wasn't gone, but it wasn't crushing him either. Standing there, he felt a flicker of something new. Hope. Not loud or certain, but real. A whisper that tomorrow might not be so bad. The stars didn't solve everything. They didn't erase the past or promise a perfect future. But they were enough to make him pause, to make him feel connected to something bigger. For the first time in years, Alexander didn't feel like he was drowning. He felt like he could breathe. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to keep going. If you enjoyed this heartwarming story, hit the subscribe button and turn on notification for more stories like this.